Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me as always in the co-host seats are our good friends, Miss Angela Rose
Hello, everyone.
and Mr. Darren Starling.
Hello.
And we want to remind everybody, Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check us out, or be sure to check out Home Circle Media at homecirclemedia.com today, or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you by Triple S Lawn Care. If you're in need of great lawn care and you're in the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area, feel free to look up Triple S Lawn Care. Darren will hook you up with great products, great price, quality service. But do be wary, his appointments are filling up fast.
Very few spots left.
Again, thank you to everybody who's tuning in tonight. If you enjoy the show, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Anime-Zing Radio. If you'd like to support the show, come over to our Patreon, patreon.com/Anime-Zing Radio. And we would love to see the support that everybody gives us. Big thank you to everyone who has been a Patreon up to this point. And hello to all of you beautiful people in the chat. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. And thank you to Ross and Mario for the Happy Father's Day. It's great to see you guys in the chat. And tonight we're going to be focusing on anime dads, the good, the bads, and the ugly. And, we'll probably have more randomness because Ross likes to derail us as much as he can. So, and with that 3, that's usually not hard.
No.
But me and Angela stayed on topic for an hour.
Yeah. Granted, that was because, I would argue that's because Devera.
I thought we did it even after he left.
We kind of did. Then Ross happened, and well.
Ross, I hope you're happy with yourself. We have now coined the phrase, and then Ross happened.
I love the fact that it went from me distracting you in the chat to now Ross.
You just handed the reins off because now you're the one that's also getting distracted.
And see, well, we're all, and Mario's in the chat, which means I can get an opinion that I think is one of the few of our viewers that will actually have an opinion on this one. As of late, we've seen a lot of anime and video game live action adaptations, and the newest one that just got announced was from a franchise I thoroughly enjoy. Amazon announced that they're doing a live action for the Yakuza franchise, and I'm cautiously optimistic that it's actually going to be good. But if anyone else has an opinion based on what little information has been released, share comments.
That was the first I've heard of it. So then again, I really wasn't on social media much yesterday due to the fact I was in prison for 4 hours.
But. And hello to John Knight. And today it's Ross with the random information. Yesterday was the 10th anniversary of the death of Casey Kasem, voice of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo and the host of American Top 40 Countdown.
Which I still hear all the time because the radio station that I listen to does reruns of that every single weekend.
Yeah, there's a couple up here do that too.
It's like he never died.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we were talking about what we want, discussing the topics for the show this weekend, and of course, being Father's Day, Angela took the suggestion from the chat about why not just do the good, the bad, the ugly of anime dads, and it got me thinking. There's a lot more focus on anime moms than there are anime dads.
Yep.
Not saying that there aren't any.
Because who doesn't love a good meal?
Thank you, Connor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why that's half the reason Connor has a job, is being the anime MILF man.
Yep. But no, and also from the Tokyo Revengers is getting an anime sequel series. But no, as far as I got to thinking as well, and there aren't a lot of focus on anime dads. And as far as recent shows go, I could only come up with 2.
And one, you can consider him a dad, but is he an actual?
Is he an actual father or just pretending?
And see, that's where we get into, and that's where it gets interesting.
Oh, Doug, before I get too far off, did you watch the latest episode of Mushoku Tensei yet?
Yes,
Okay, so can we talk about that father?
we can, because that was one of the dads that I was going to bring up for the show tonight. Jobless reincarnation. And a good segue to start off with this, since it's fresh in my mind, since literally watched the episode about 2 hours ago. And
I was watching it when you sent the message.
and we will do our best for any of you Jobless Reincarnation fans out there who have not seen it. We'll do our best not to spoil the most recent episode, but we'll talk about the dad in that show as a whole. Not exactly the most
what
ethical.
transpired.
Not exactly the most ethical dad. He was definitely a player. Definitely had his flaws. But at the same point in time, you could tell he tried to do the best job that he could based on the world that they lived in.
Yep. And when you really got down to it, family was more important to him than anything.
Granted, the way that he kind of like knocked Rudy out, threw him in the back of a trailer and shipped him off was a bit rough, but
But it's no different than I saw a video earlier. A guy was taking his son to military camp. So they have good intentions most of the time. Regardless of the delivery.
And Joe's just like shaking her head over there. She's got thoughts.
Yes, but not about that. My brain just went, oh, there's ones I forgot about.
And I'm not gonna lie, wrecking my brain about fathers in anime and like father-like figures in anime. It brought up Hina Matsuri, which is a show that it was a good show when it came out, but nobody really paid much attention to it. I didn't hear a lot of talk. I know we probably touched on it briefly when it was airing, and going back and like rewatching some of the show. I think I got about 7 episodes in.
One that came to mind that I forgot about was one Fluffy Paradise.
Yeah.
Because she was very spoiled by her parents, and her dad was like an important nobility, and then yet kept spoiling her. I'm not sure if that means he's a good parent or not, but
I mean, I think sometimes we judge whether people are good parents or not based on how the children behave and the actions of the influence of the people around them. And in his case, she was very smart, and I think yes, for us, he was very much a doter in Fluffy Paradise. I still think that he did get stern a couple of times. on certain subjects, which you can't always give in.
And then the other one that came, and then one of the other ones that came to mind, My Hero Academia. Specifically, when you figure without spoiling current season, you figure just Endeavor's relationship with Todoroki, and that gets even more, that goes even further. And then like last season, when I think last season might have been the season before, where they had little blurbs with some of the students and their families. And it was really funny to see Bakugo fight with his parents, because because it becomes very obvious where he gets his temper from.
I could see that. And another show when talking about dads and anime that I think of, Food Wars.
Which? Oh wait, we forgot. I forgot. We never see Aaron as dad in this. We all. Oh yeah, we do.
No, he does. He comes in like season 4.
4. Yeah. Sorry, I was had to think for a minute. Because don't forget, for most of the time we see her grandfather.
Yeah. But it was more of was it Yukihara was the dad?
Yukihira Soma, and then what was his name? Yukihira Soma, and then
Junichiro.
Junichiro, yes.
That's right. So Junichiro was, he tried to raise his kid right, and teach him, all the ins and outs of being in a quality restaurant owner and chef and everything. And then he disappears, and then he shows back up out of the blue, which kind of has been a trend in anime for a long time.
About the only time dads seem to stick around in anime is whenever we have a monarchy involved and the dad is the king.
I mean, or it's just one of those really out there animes. I do not remember. I think it might have been Ross in the chat was watching this one with me the season it aired. My Home Hero, where the father was so unhappy with the daughter's boyfriend, he was going, and that just, it started there and got way out of hand real quick. And
was that the one where the boyfriend was Yakuza or gang member, and he killed him, and then the mom helped hide the body? And
yep,
I didn't watch it, but I'd heard about that.
That one was definitely something. But yes, that's exactly the one. But it was definitely and then the father, basically, his daughter was so. At the end of the day, he did it because he hated seeing his daughter so miserable. And Ross in the chat, best father ever for my home hero. I'm not sure I agree with that, but at the end of the day, his heart was in the right place. He just kind of went about it all wrong.
Yeah. Well, when I think of dads, I think back to one of the early shows that I watched with Rosario Vampire. You don't see Tsukune's dad in the show much. I think he makes like 2 appearances.
Yeah, when he gets in, wasn't it him that found that
he found
to the school?
Yeah, he found the acceptance letter to the school, which got Tsukune into Yokai Academy. And then there was the episode when Tsukune went home and all 4 girls showed up at his house unannounced, and his mom freaked out. And after a huge fight as the girls are being shoved on the bus, his dad makes an appearance and basically has one line, "I'm the dad." And that was it. You didn't really see much of him, but for a lot of shows, when it comes to family life, you kind of just don't see the dads much. Usually they're working, they're in another country, they're late nights at the office, there's always, or they've died. So a lot of times that you see shows where dads are not
there
around.
There are several shows recently. Some of my favorite anime romances where the dads have a more active role. Horimiya is a good one. The dad is associated with throughout the series. Let's see. Uzaki wants to hang out. Well, we know her father, don't we?
Yeah, he was a bit interesting.
And then
the father of the bartender, your favorite, the people watchers.
Yeah.
No, now that you say that, there's also on the other end of the spectrum, you've got My Happy Marriage, where the entire point was our main character was treated so poorly by her father after her mother died. Or
yes, Ross.
or another one where the whole topic of the whole hidden story is in the Apothecary Diaries who Mao Mao's father really is, and when that gets revealed, that's an interesting story point.
And you look at some of these shows, and then we think about like main characters and their parents, but what about the main characters who become parents during the shows?
Oh,
like Rudius is going to be a father in Jobless Reincarnation.
And let's see, fired from the Demon King's army, I decided to live my life. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
He became a father.
Yep.
And let's see, who else became a father in anime? If it's for my daughter, I'd even defeat the Demon Lord. Adoptive kid.
Yeah.
So
I guess there's more in the way of parents than we think of, or more in the way of dads in anime that then we realize. I think a lot of times we don't really pay attention because they're such background characters, and most times they are not memorable. It's small instances of whatever, dad,
and
hey,
it's my family.
I mean, hell, we still don't know who Ash's dad is, and it's been 20, and they finally finished up his story after 24 years, and we still don't know who the father is.
It was the professor.
It was Giovanni.
It was Brock. Brock is your father.
You do know in the show that Brock's father made an appearance, right?
No, because I never really watched a whole lot of Pokemon.
Brock's father was introduced in one of the first episodes involving Brock, and the only reason he left with Ash was because his father came back and started taking care of his family. Because his father basically abandoned the family, and Brock had to step up. And then Brock laid into him, taught him the error of his ways, and started being a father again.
Interesting. I did not know that.
And then we've got some commentary in the chat.
Okay, but still, Ross. As far as the anime goes, and as far as the anime only watchers know, he is still a father to her, as we know. And yes, I'm well aware that she ends up. I saw the spoilers.
That's one of the tough things about the internet, and when you're watching shows and trying not to, like, people, the manga readers who are ahead of where anime stories are really want to talk about what happens next before the media is made available to the anime only watchers like myself. And so it gets tough to not fall into the trap of, oh look, a jobless reincarnation post. Oh, this is starting to talk about what's to come. I don't want to read this, but I'm already halfway through a post. Yeah.
This is why I don't bother.
This is why I love it when people say, "Why the heck do you post spoilers? Why the heck are you on the internet?"
This is why I kind of avoid going through fandoms until after.
Yep.
Oh God.
I think that's a question for you, Ange.
Yes, I know it is, and I'm trying. Jinshi is such a pretty boy.
It's okay to crush on him.
No, but if we're going with who has better abs, that's definite. Oh, I don't know. That's a toss up.
Wow, we left Angela speechless, or someone left Angela speechless. Write that down.
I don't have an answer for that one, John. No, I am. But going through some of the comments, John, Moriarty the Patriot was one of my favorites for when it was airing, so I hope you are actually enjoying that one. Apothecary Diaries, arguably one of my top 5 for recent-ish anime.
Grandfather and grandmother, or the grandfather, the grandma and grandpa turn young again. Anime, the grandfather was a good dad, and I think that the son is trying to be a good father to his daughter as well. Now, talking about Hina Matsuri earlier, Nita, who's a yakuza who kind of has this child looking girl who appears in his apartment out of no thin air, basically, and ends up taking her in and trying to be a father figure for her. He does, and even in the episode, admits to his family that she's his daughter. So he kind of steps up into a fatherly role, and that show is it's a goofy yet wholesome show. I mean, you have a middle schooler who works in a bar, um, a yakuza
Yes, that's totally legal.
a yakuza member who brings his 13-year-old daughter to the gentleman's club. Um, you know, very, very moral and ethical stuff, but there are a lot of life lessons that are taught in that. And you even see a group of homeless guys who take in a young girl who also came from another world, like Hina did, and teach her how to work to make money to be able to afford to buy food to eat and survive. And so there's some positive, fatherly influences, maybe not exactly like blood related dads, but then again, not every dad is a blood related dad. How many kids were adopted? How many step parents are there where they try to be the best parent they can in the situation, whether it's good, bad, whatever. And then you have Spy Family.
Yep.
Where nothing is real.
But
where everybody's got a secret to hide and nobody knows the truth.
Mm-hmm.
There's one
Except
person who
Anya.
knows the truth, and then becomes the question of do we honestly think Do we honestly think they're faking it, or do we think they really care?
At first, you could tell that there was a lot of faking going on, but I think as time progressed in the story, you can tell that like deeper connections are truly being made. The question is how, based on their lines of work, how much are they going to allow those connections and those feelings to interfere with the ultimate mission?
But when the ultimate mission is the same,
how much more adorableness can you get out of Anya? And Bond, Wet Bond, it was like one of the greatest things from that show. I'm not gonna lie.
well, that I will agree with.
Wet Bond was
Why
hysterical.
is it the dogs always turn out to be better characters than the main characters themselves?
I don't know. Ask Aho Girl.
Aho Girl was not good, in my opinion.
Well, we didn't say it was good. We just said the best character was the dog. Or
The dog
the
was
animals.
the dog was the redeeming quality of that. But
John Knight in the chat says Delicious in Dungeon Season 2 has officially been announced.
yay! That is such a good show.
Question for Doug. It's weird though. Would Ainsul Goon be a good father? I kind of think he would.
I think Demiurge would be the actual father, though.
Yeah. Demiurge would probably be the more of the parental authority, advising, Ainz on everything to do. I mean, that'd be like asking if Kazuma would be a good dad in Konosuba.
Oh my gosh.
Characters who you don't want to see as a father. Kazuma.
I
just the thought of that.
Oh wow. Well, for that matter, how many of our male main characters in those type of shows would make a good father? What about Subaru?
I think Subaru would make a better father than Kazuma.
from the sounds of it, that's not setting a very high bar, though.
Yeah.
Here's one, Doug, while we're on the topic of that. Because he actually is in the spin-off series. Do you think Issei would be a good father?
I think Issei would make a good father just because his heart would be in the right place. He would make a lot of mistakes, but let's be honest. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all try to do the best we can with the knowledge we have. And
but he's a devil. And a dragon.
Yeah. He's got two powerful lineages to try to live up to, but I think his heart would be in the right place, and he would want to try to be the best father he could.
I think he would be too. And like I said, the fact that he actually is in some of the spin-off series, I don't really remember how much is actually talked about him being a good father, but I'm fairly certain there was mostly positive stuff.
Ross says Darren Issei would still be like Paul.
I disagree with that one, Ross. Because Paul was a player with anybody. Issei was only a player with the girls that came on to him.
But the ultimate player here is Angela.
Sure.
Sorry.
We had to reel you back in the conversation somehow.
That's why she just shakes her head and just move on.
Oh.
One of these days I'll have another hot take that'll just get her to fly off the handle.
Yeah.
Nah.
Here's one of the OG dads in anime. Everybody's favorite green daddy, Piccolo. Because he was more of a father to Gohan than Goku ever was.
Yeah.
Because Goku was a good father for like the first 2 years of Gohan's life. And then after getting into the whole Frieza arc, Piccolo did most of the raising. From the Saiyans into that. And Gohan was basically raised by Chi-Chi. Wasn't until he got into a teenage years that he spent time with Goku again. And then he grew up, and him and Goku were two different personalities.
And then you had other spin-off animes like Yashahime, where you find out, obviously Inuyasha Kagome had a kid, which any Inuyasha fan could see that happening. But then you find out Sesshomaru had two daughters, to Rin, which was kind of surprising to a lot of Inuyasha fans when that first was announced. That
And Ross is saying in the chat, just to be clear, we're not bringing up the two very bad fathers, right?
The two famous ones? Yes. Just not now.
I mean, we're going to hold off, but if you want to talk about them now, Ross, you help us segue right into two of the iconic dads in anime.
Yeah. Let's see. Haruhi's father. Oh, or should I say mother? Depends on how he dressed for the day.
Yeah. Good God.
Let's go back to some of the first dads we saw in anime.
Oh God. Ross, I forgot about that. I forgot about that one.
Shinji?
Yup. And yup.
And Show Tucker?
I mean, some of these shows had to have the twisted, disgustingness that these people got known for. I mean, not every anime is all bubbly and cute. Some of it's horror. Some that's why they have anime for every. There's an anime out there for everyone, as we say.
Everybody and everything. Let's see.
And what was Shinji known for? I don't remember.
What show? We're not talking about Evangelion, are we?
Yes, we are.
Oh, I didn't.
Shinji was a father?
No.
Are we talking about Shinji's father? I'm lost.
I haven't seen Evangelion, so. Ross says, I asked you if we were not gonna bring them up because they are forbidden fathers. So they are the forbidden fathers.
Shinji's father was a piece of work.
And I'm just kind of scrolling through. I did a little search for like best dads in anime and found a top 20 list on Fandom Spot.
Oh, let's go over that and see how bad it is.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
This could be fun. Let's put this in a different
pull it up on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me just a moment here, and I'll get that on here. This could be kind of interesting to see.
And Ross, FYI, I never watched Evangelion, so don't shoot me.
Am I the only one of the three of us that's seen it?
Yes.
That's
So,
weird.
courtesy of Fandom Spot, the top 20 best anime dads of all time ranked. And this is courtesy of this site. I am not sure.
Never heard of
Fandom Spot, yeah. A few different sites had come up with lists. So I'm sure there's going to be shows on here I've never heard of, but let's see. Or
Black
C or Phi.
it. Oh, that's Asta and what's his name? And Yuno's
Asuka,
adopted
Yuno.
father.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. He tried to raise him right.
Shiro Fujimoto from Oh No
Blue
Exorcist.
Yeah, I can see that too, even though I didn't watch all of Blue Exorcist. He tried.
Have you seen Blue Exorcist?
No.
Ange? Neither
Nope.
have I. Joseph Joestar, Jojo.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'll give him that one.
I can't argue with that one.
I have no idea who he is because I know nothing of JoJo's.
JoJo's is all over the place.
I can't believe I actually know all these characters so far.
Number 17.
Really?
Naruto.
And then you have Kohi Inuzuka. Sweetness and Lighting. I've never even heard of that show.
Oh my, that's where Sweetness. Have you seen that video where the girl's singing about sharks?
Mario
No.
Noda what?
You haven't seen the video where the girl's singing about sharks walking to school? She looks to be about 5 or 6.
No.
Oh, Crunchyroll posted the hell out of that one back in the day.
I'm sure they did.
All right.
It just didn't resonate with me. We'll move on to the next one. Tomomi Masaoka.
Oh, there you go.
That's a weird one.
Psychopath.
Oh, okay, I can kind of see it, but oh, and Mario says no to Naruto being on the list.
Yes.
And okay, I suppose I can see where they're going with Psychopaths being on that list, but
we brought his name up earlier. Junichiro Yukihira from Food Wars. Thor's and Vinland Saga.
Yes. He is a very high quality father. He is a family man through and through despite being a badass.
Maze Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah, no, that's another one. Yeah.
I think my wife had made the comment that it's weird that the same series has probably one of the best fathers and one of the worst fathers in anime in the same shows.
I think I will actually agree with that.
I can agree to that, even though I've never seen it.
All Might.
Really? Is he even a father?
He's not, and I'd actually disagree. All Might is very much a parental figure, but he's not, and I disagree with this one because I would argue he's not legal guardian, so meh.
Yeah. That one I think is a stretch. I think that was
I think that was
obviously
more
you're
of a
farther in the show than I am, but even I'm like,
it's a stretch. No. Exactly. He's not really a dad. He's a father figure and a good role model, sure, but no.
Look, the guy just flat out says, "I love this guy. I'm counting it
And
as a legal guardian."
and
So biased.
Endeavor exactly. Endeavor, on the other hand, well, that's another story, and well, yeah.
I
Hajime.
can't understand what my husband is saying. I heard that was an interesting show.
I never heard of it.
I think I've heard of it, but nothing about it was like I want to watch this.
It's basically your average husband and wife.
Bowls.
From Akame Got Kill.
Akame
Okay,
ga Kill.
he actually was a good father despite him being the villain in that series. Like, when it
And
boiled down to it, he cared about his family more than anything.
and
And that's actually what it says in here. It says
is he a good person? No.
No,
Is
he's
he a
not.
good father? Surprisingly, yes.
so I guess when you're looking at a father figure, just because they are an asshole to everybody else, are they trying to be the best for their family? They're trying to raise their kids the right way. That'd be the best father figure.
Nanashi.
Nanashi.
That looks like something from.
Sword of
I've
Stranger.
never heard of that one. It's a movie.
It's a movie
Yeah,
filled with
you know,
battle and death.
I can't argue with this one because I've never seen it, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Soichiro Yagami from Death Note.
Never watched Death Note.
I have not seen it either.
Is that supposed to be Light Yagami's father?
Yes, it says
Yes.
he claimed Light's innocence through and through. Jukai in Dororo.
Dororo. I heard good things about that show. I think it was Giga that did a thing on it.
Wouldn't surprise me. Uh-oh, more Dragon Ball
Krillin?
looks like Krillin.
No, he is a good father.
Krillin was the only sensible father that came out of the Dragon Ball franchise, according to this article.
He really is. Even though Vegeta did turn out to be a good father, better than Goku. But it took Vegeta till Dragon Ball Super to be that way. Well, no, he had some redeeming moments in Z, but just barely. Another Naruto.
Naruto Shippuden. Again, never seen Naruto or Dragon Ball or any of these, so I can't comment.
Same. And Ross has a question for you, Darren.
Gin? I think Gin was a sensible father, if nothing else. I mean, he was trying to look out for his daughter, even if it was a forced marriage. But the fact that he allowed the marriage to be called off because Rito proved himself. I mean, what do you think, Doug? I mean, Gin
Lala's
was
dad?
honorable. Yeah, I mean, he was an honorable father, if nothing else.
I mean, he was trying to protect his little girl and wanted what's best for her without really paying attention to what she wanted. Which we see that with dads all the time, not just in anime, but in real life too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Very overprotective, And he had the power to destroy worlds if he so see fit.
Yeah.
It just so happened that Lala was able to talk him out of it.
Yep. And then Momo and Nana were able to follow suit.
Yeah. That's still such a crazy series.
I love that series.
Up next, we have Yato from Noragami.
He was a father?
Yukine? I'm guessing he was the dad.
Yep.
Dad of Yukine, from what I'm reading here.
I've never seen this show, so I don't know.
I don't know either.
That he's a god, so
Now, Fumi.
Okay, I disagree with this one because even though he's a father figure and legal guardian of Philo and Raftalia, he is not an actual father.
It says here rather a caring, demanding guardian.
And he will do anything for them. He acts like the father figure, but he's just that a father figure, not.
Yeah. And then
Byakuya Ishigami from Dr. Stone. I can actually agree to that one. The amount of stuff he did for Senku was incredible, and then after the Earth was wiped out, the fact that he left recordings for Senku to find and listen to was incredible.
Let's see. Is there any other good dad lists on here like that?
Well, now that we've looked at some of the best, I'm wondering if there's a top X worst fathers in anime.
Well, let's see. Worst dads in anime. 15 worst fathers in anime ranked on CBR.
Why not?
Why not? Jinx. You owe me an anime figure.
You know what? What show do you want?
Mysterious Girlfriend X.
Okay.
There was only a couple of Urabe. Finding them is.
Here we go. First, 15 worst fathers in anime ranked.
Oh, look,
courtesy
there's two of them
CBR.
right there. Two fairly known ones right there.
Yep.
Judge Vinsmoke, One Piece.
Not a One Piece person, so no idea.
Never seen it. Steins Gate.
I need to actually watch that one.
Kurisu's father?
Yeah, Shoichi Mikasi. Gifted scientist.
Yes, Kurisu's father.
Yeah.
Kurisu is one of my favorite female characters of all time. She's one of the lesser known waifus. And yes, the red hair has something to do with it, but she was just a joy. She was just a very well written character.
Ross says the father in My Bride is a Mermaid is a bad father. In his opinion.
Let's
see if someone else agreed.
13. Hunter x Hunter. Never seen the show, so I can't say.
Is that Gon's father?
Let's.
Yes.
I was only going by the hairstyle.
I don't know much about Hunter x Hunter, so I can't argue with this one.
Made in Abyss. Bondrude.
Never heard of the character. I'm familiar with Made in Abyss, though.
Same.
Let's see, Bondrude, one of the most experienced explorers. He starts experiment on various beings in search of answers, and devolving to the point that he even uses his own daughter as fuel for his pursuits.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, pretty bad. Just like this one right here. And
Demon Slayer.
is he really a father, though? Because don't forget, during their first encounter, he was technically with a fake family.
I don't know. I didn't get very far into Demon Slayer, but
It says that he's referred to as the father of all demons, so I'm wondering if that's why he was included in the list.
and haven't gotten there yet, so I don't know if I agree with that.
Well,
Go
And
Dragon Ball.
one we've
That's
already
a
brought
given.
up.
That's a duh.
Dario Brando, Jojo.
Is that Dio's father?
Yup.
Yes. Rasa of the Sand, Naruto.
And Ross says, "Look, the Demon Slayer guy is Michael Jackson."
Yeah, we know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can see it.
Yep.
Yep.
Only difference is he's not hanging the child off a balcony.
Hey, that's enough of that.
That's been the running gag ever since he made his appearance.
Grisha
Hey, look.
Yeager.
Oh God. Yes. I will actually 100% agree with this one. And Mario is apologizing. He has work tomorrow, so he's going to turn in. Mario, we love having you for when you can be here. Stay
Yes,
safe
Mario.
and have a good night.
Have a wonderful night, and thank you for tuning in. And I know you watch these and listen to these after the fact, so definitely lots of love. Thank you for the support. It means the world to us, really does, for everybody who tunes in and supports the show.
Catch you on the next one, Mario.
Yeah,
Up next,
Attack on Titan, I'm 100% on board with.
and this one we're all on board with. He's only
yup.
number 6.
So there's 5 worse than him.
I was going to say I would almost argue that Attack on Titan is worse, but you know.
He
But
has
no, this
infamy
one's
behind
bad.
him.
Yeah, no, I'm
Tokomi Tosaka from Fate Zero. I know nothing of the Fate series.
I know very little of the Fate series, so can't judge this one, but I think I'm more still surprised that 7 and 6 aren't
As high as they are.
Yeah.
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Okay. You know what? All right. This one rivals those two.
So Shinji's dad. Okay.
Yep. I'm agreeing with that one as well.
Code Geass.
Charles Britannia.
The father of Code Geass's protagonist is a horrible dictator.
I've never actually seen Code Geass, so I couldn't tell you.
And says that during the show, he basically shuns his daughter after she becomes paralyzed and blind. Endeavor, my hero.
You know, I'll give that he should be on this list. I don't think he's worse than
Some of the
than
others.
than 3 of the others. There are 3 on that list that I would definitely put higher than Endeavor.
My question is, now that we've got all the famous ones out of the way, who the heck is number 1?
I know, right?
And number 1, Berserk, Gambino.
So whose father is he, though?
Guts.
Guts.
Oh, Lord.
I've not seen Berserk, so I kind of can't. I don't agree with this order.
Yeah, I mean, we agree that a lot of them should have been on the list, but not necessarily in the order that they were.
I would argue 1, 2, and 3 need to be
A little
Evangelion,
lower.
Brotherhood, and Attack on Titan. I would argue those should be 1, 2, and 3. But I digress.
And you know what? Dad didn't appear on this list that I thought might have Nanbaka. Or not Nanbaka.
I was going to say, Nambaka was the prison one. There's no dads in that one.
No, it's the one where the girl died trying to escape from her father, and the kid brought her back as a zombie. Sankareya, that's the one. The father in that was not exactly the nicest, due to the fact of his obsession with his daughter was very unusual and kind of disgusting, where every year on her birthday he wanted to take nude photos of her all the way into her teenage years and had kind of a shrine.
Yep. He idolized his daughter so much. You know, going back to old anime that we got into, I just realized another one that I thoroughly enjoyed. Kaze no Stigma. Guy is basically disowned out of his family because he doesn't have the talent for fire like the family's known for. And then he ends up getting a contract with the Spirit of the Wind, which is a magic that their family views as inferior. And he ends up coming back, and him and his dad get into fights almost all the time because his dad is the strongest in the clan, but since he contracted with the Spirit of the Wind, he's even more powerful than him. And they just, every time they meet, they're fighting fist to fist. And the father's always like, I could kill you, but I'll let you off for the day because of X, Y, and Z.
I will be right back. I just got to make sure my daughter's ready for bed. So feel free to continue the conversation on the good, bad, and forgettable dads.
So we're changing this topic to MILFs, right?
Ross says, yes, but it's dumb how he ends up with his cousin instead of the blonde lady.
Well, and rightfully so. I'm sorry, but now you're making me remember names.
I have no idea.
Look, the cousins are fairly significantly separated, so there's that. Besides, I like Ren and Ayumi's story a lot better. That's probably why I can remember their names. Kazuma was the name of the, and then why can I not remember? Sweeling was the original girlfriend, and then Lapis was the remake. And why can I not remember the main girl character? I can remember everyone else in this show except for
Which show?
causing a stigma because Ross was commenting on it.
Literally, as soon as you left, Ross threw that at Darren, and I have no idea what Ross is talking about, but
talking about the good and the bad dads, had to go do the fatherly duty of making sure that my daughter is ready for bed. And
is she done with school for the year?
Yep, she's been done for a week or two now.
Oh wow! Because last day of school for up here was like this past week.
Ayana, that's her name.
And our oldest is in school until I think June 26th up in New York. So it's I guess it depends on where you're at, the weather, sick days, school or snow days or whatever. Where they didn't use a whole ton of snow days, so they gave them an extra week off in New York, which is weird, but look at that. We stayed on the subject of dads and anime for an hour.
I know, right?
Yay.
And Ross helped for once instead of being a distraction.
And I know, Andrew had asked earlier about my trip to Eastern States Penitentiary. That was a lot of fun. If the viewers and listeners are interested in hearing about that, I can talk about that a little bit, show some of the photo dump that I did. If not, we can find more stuff to talk about. I mean, there's other anime dads and stuff out there we haven't touched on.
I mean, there's also the fact that I'm finally mostly caught up on anime for the season.
I am not.
Bartender, what has your thoughts been?
I love it.
It really has been good.
And while a minor character, there was a good. Good might not be the right word, but there was a really well-written father-son scene. I would argue bad father for not understanding his son at all, but that was still a really cool little vignette.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about the son who wants to be a bartender and the dad's making him
basically carry on the family business that he has zero interest in, but he won't say no.
I like the fact that the son stood up for himself and was like, no, this is what I want to do. I will do everything I can to prove to you that this is where I belong. And, kudos to the dad for, even if it was just humoring at first, eventually it felt like he finally understood his son's point of view.
Maybe. Bartender Kami no glass.
But sorry.
No, but we started on. It was more of a segue that led back to something because I remembered. Oh yeah, that was a good scene.
Yeah. And it's like Wednesday nights, I think, are when 4 shows drop that I'm watching, or 3. Is it 4 or 3? 3. Bartender, The Many Sides of Voice Actor Radio, and Konosuba 3, which I know I've said all along. Konosuba has just been more Konosuba. The most recent episode, have you seen? Are you caught up on Konosuba, Darren?
Mostly.
Did you see this week's episode or no?
When did it drop?
Wednesday.
Yes, I believe I did. With Darkness, yes.
Darkness Wedding?
Yeah.
Oh god, that kind of that one episode really stood out and was like, okay, after all season long of watching this and just being like, okay, it's more Konosuba, nothing spectacular, they go and pull that out. And I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but that was what
In that
episode?
case, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna use that as a lovely segue to go back to the chat. Spike Bebop poses a very interesting question to everyone. What anime or which anime family is your favorite?
Family. There's not many family anime where they're all. By family, or do we mean mother, father, son, or daughter? Or are we talking about cousins? Or are we talking about uncles? I mean, I know it's Father's Day, but still.
You know what? I'm gonna take the ridiculous answer and actually roll with Spy Family on this one.
I
Because
mean, it's hard not to, because it's one of the very few anime where you follow a mother, a father, and a daughter pretty much all the dang time.
and the dog. And
Yes, we gotta include Bond.
and it may not be real per se, but it's real
Real
enough, and the dynamic is just fantastic.
Yeah, and it says mother, father, son, daughter. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, and Spy Family is amongst the best. Spike Bebop's and Spy Family is the best. That is up there. Ross says Yamada. I gotta go with the Yamada family from Dangers in My Heart.
Yes, I can agree with that one because they're great. All of them are.
I have two that come to mind that are a bit off the wall. I think they are, when it comes to like families. Like some of the characters of these families may be a bit of a stretch, but when you see what the family life is like, it kind of explains a lot. Uzaki
Yes,
and her family,
yes.
like as a family, they alone would make an interesting anime. Just the Uzaki family, not even like Uzaki-chan wants to hang out. Just like the whole family aspect, how the chemistry works between her parents, her brother, her sister.
Her
You know,
sister, but her sister's the root cause of a lot of interesting things.
and also and I touched on it earlier, the Aonos from Rosario Vampire. You see more of Skune, the mom, and the cousin than you do the dad, but it the parents are trying to do the best they can, and the whole family aspect of everything that's going on, and him trying to explain this is just normalness without giving away secrets is an interesting side of things.
I just thought of something, Doug.
What's that?
What do you think? Sorry, going back to DXD, but if you think about it, we really see more of Rias's father and Akano's father than we do
Yusei's father.
any. Exactly.
And it's been a while since I've watched the DXD franchise, so it's like trying to remember everything with that.
Because remember, Rias's father is just a high level devil. Meanwhile, Akano's father is one of the top fallen angels.
Yeah, true. No, and another one that comes to mind when you're thinking of families, and it kind of like turns into a makeshift family, or family in the making, is Realist Hero, where you have the guy who's just kind of summoned, and then the king just usurps the throne to this guy, and over time you see like the relationship develop between Kazuma and the princess, and it like the family dynamic that you see forming there, where the new ruler of this country, slowly you see his harem start with multiple wives and things like that. But you can see that there's true like feelings that are developing between everybody. So it's kind of an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Who else? I'm scrolling through stuff here, trying to go back through the animes I've watched and see if any people stick out to me. Let's see. Grisatia, no. Guilty Crown. We didn't really see the father. That one. Aesthetic of a Rogue Hero, no. Hajimete no Gal, no. Handshakers, no.
Monster Musume, would that be considered a family with the main character having all those monster girls that end up living with him? I
I don't think so.
think so. I think that's more of like roommate than family. Granted, they all want him.
Yep. Oh, here's one. Illegitimate child, but the devil is the part-timer?
Mm. The problem with that is, like season 2, when the child came in on Devil's a Part Timer, I lost interest. I'm like, the story just doesn't feel the
Makes
same.
sense anymore? Well, not so much makes sense, but no, I can agree with that. Let's see. Heavy Object, High School DxD, High School of the Dead, Imoto Evolution, Chaika. Oh yeah, worst fathers can go to Chaika's father, because he recreated the Chaikas in an effort to preserve himself.
Now here's a
Another,
stretch.
speaking of which, on that note, another terrible father was Meliodas' in the Seven Deadly Sins. His goal was to build up Meliodas and then take over his body so he could acquire a younger body.
Yeah, that's a bit much. But something that just came into my mind of, would you consider it a father figure? I don't even know if, like, I don't remember if the character viewed it as a, like not so much of a father figure, but a creator. But certain magical index, when you have Misaka, Makoto Misaka,
I never watched Index or
because
Railgun.
she ended up having a lot of sisters that were created from her likeness. So it was all like scientifically created.
To kind of bring this back to the chat, Spike, we had some lengthy conversations about the father from Evangelion. He also was not far down enough on the list of worst fathers in anime. Very awful. Very awful is not even the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, here's one, Doug. I believe you watched it. It's a forgettable series, but mindless entertainment nonetheless. The father from Uncle Grandpa.
I actually never watched that.
I thought you did. I thought you
No.
watched Isekai Cheap Magician. Not, yeah, Isekai Cheap Magician.
Oh, Isekai Cheat Magician. Did I watch that?
I think you did.
I probably did, but like you said, forgettable. So does it? You've watched too much trash anime when you can't even remember what you've watched.
I'm actually in that, to a point, in that boat.
Let's see, JoJo.
What about Shimonetta? Because wasn't
There was
president
no.
the president? I
That
know the
was
president's
the.
mom was psychotic, but wasn't the dad a bit of an ass in that too?
I don't. Did we even really see the dad for that one?
I
I
don't
feel
remember.
like I don't think we did. I
Well, we
think it
might
was
not.
predominantly the mother. Kakaguri, Kamitano Ashbro, girlfriend,
Kami-sama
girlfriend.
Kiss. You didn't see the dad really.
Takagi didn't see the dad. Having the Stigma didn't see the dad.
Tanya the Evil didn't really see the dad.
Oh wait. Uncle Grandpa was Wise Man's grandchild. My bad. Not Isekai Cheat Magician. Similar concepts, that's why I got them confused. Let's see.
And any other dads you can think of, Ange?
Did we see any dads in the 100 Girlfriends, or were they all... No, just the
I
mom.
think it's all moms.
I think a lot of the ones I know I've brought up already.
Doug, I got one for us.
Uh-oh.
The dad from Kiss Excess.
Is it bad I don't even really remember him?
Oh, come on. Always encouraging relations with his sisters because they weren't related by blood?
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
I think I've got one, but I don't think anyone actually watched this show because this was a 6-episode short on Netflix. Good Night World.
Nope.
No.
But basically, in real life, the father was a piece of shit. Basically played favorites with his 2 sons. Basically favored one son, ignored the other son and daughter to the point where family gets parents get a divorce. And but in video game in MMO world, the parents and the 2 sons end up in a family in the game, but none of them realize that they're actually a family in real life, just a dysfunctional one.
Sounds like and you thought there's never a girl online.
And it basically boiled down to they all kept playing this video game because they were basically avoiding dealing with their real lives, not realizing that the people that they thought were the perfect family really were. And it was, again, it was not conceptually a really cool story, but a really poorly executed anime.
Here's another one, Doug. Didn't we see Toru's dad in Kobayashi's Dragon Maid?
Yes, he did. He did make an appearance in Dragon Maid. He did see Toru's dad. I think he tried taking her home, and she stood up to him.
Yes.
And as you mentioned earlier from Oron High School Host Club, Haruhi's father, mother, whatever
they decided to be.
See, Ross in the chat says one more top trash father, the father from Tashio Otome Fairy Tale main character's father. I don't know that show. And Ross also said Dagashi Kashi Coconut's dad.
Yes, that was a good show. And yes, he was a good father. And he wanted him and Hotaru to end up together.
And one of the shows that's out right now, the Banished Former Hero, he got banished from his father. His father chose the main character's brother over him because he wasn't showing, or no, was it that one, or was it chilling in another world with level 2 super cheap? I think it was level 2 super cheap powers. One of the two. I'm getting, because I'm watching both, I'm getting. Oh no, it was Banished Former Hero. as he gets banished from his house due to the fact that he has a low level, and they believe he has no gift from the god, but he ends up being like overpowered. And but his father basically throws him out of the house, and they leave him in the woods to survive for himself, hoping that he would die and be forgotten. And then he turns out to be overpowered badass that's going to save the world. So that was another horrible father of, a monarchy style.
Oh, here's fathers that don't know what they're doing.
Father-
The Nisekoi fathers. These two Yakuza groups that can't stand each other get into a drinking game and end up promising each other their daughter and son in marriage in the future. And now they have to pretend to get along even though they still can't stand each other.
Interesting. I haven't seen that one.
Nisekoi started the whole waifu wars trend on Twitter. Hashtag Team Chipage, hashtag Team Onodera, hashtag Team Marika. That started the whole hashtag Team this, Team that. It was like when waifu wars got brought to the internet. It was 2013, 2014, I want to say.
And to answer your question, Ross is asking if I've been enjoying Former Hero. It's been interesting. Would I put it in a top 5 list? Probably not, but it's been entertaining. It's been entertaining enough to have me stay watching it all along. I like some of the characters. Granted, they're not as over the top as Fenrir's is, but Seventh Prince has also been an interesting anime. I just feel like the artist drew him dirty. My wife saw a picture of the cover art for Seventh Prince, and she goes, "Is that a boy or a girl?" I was like, "That's a boy." She goes, "Why did they draw him like that?"
That's anime for you, though.
Exactly.
It's like they did that boy dirty with the art style.
But
the series has been, kind of entertaining. It's been interesting enough.
I'm down in the R's, and I still haven't found many other fathers that stick out to me. It's like most of these anime characters we don't even focus on. We don't even see their fathers.
For Konosuba, I'm trying to think. I know in the Mega Man spinoff, they did not focus on her parents, just her and her sister. But I know her mom made an appearance in the movie.
Yep, because she was trying to get the. Yes, the dad was there too. The dad was in the movie. He was trying to scam everybody. Meanwhile, the mom was just trying to get Cosmo to sleep with Megamine.
Tomo-chan is a girl, the dad in that for the kendo side of things.
True.
I feel like a lot of the reincarnated shows, you don't see a lot of like dads appear in that unless it's after birth.
Did you watch Testament of Sister New Devil?
Yes. The dad in that was interesting on how he got everybody together.
Yep. Plus he's overpowered as.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then we got Shokugeki, Shuffle. Oh wait, here's a blast from the past. The father of Narune and what's her name from Shuffle.
Oh yeah. The Angel and Devil girls, their dads.
Yes, the king of the gods and the king of the demons.
Ross in the chat says, was I the only one here who has seen third Kanjo Real Girl about a guy who's an
3D
otaku?
Kanajo Real Girl? I forgot about the father in that show. I was focused on the actual couple.
The father was bad in that, almost cheated.
No, Ross, I don't remember the father in that one. I just remember the couple. And honestly, that was a really good romance anime. Oh, here's one that's not exactly a father, but you could consider him a father figure. The one from What Are You Doing at the End of the World? Because if you think about it, he was a father figure to all those girls.
Yeah. And but we've talked a lot about the dads and stuff in anime, but there's also the animal dads. A series like My Roommate is a Cat, where he adopts a cat and ends up becoming like a father figure, having to learning how to take care of a pet at times is just as challenging, sometimes feels more challenging than learning how to take care of a child, which we touched on before the show as well. So that, I guess you could consider him a father figure, and that was a very cute and wholesome show. I enjoyed it enough to name a cat after the main character. And Ross says, Darren, the king in Castletown Dandelion.
I never finished Castletown Dandelion.
Doug, on the note of family dynamics and fathers, one that we didn't touch on, albeit a very minor character, but it does come up, voice actor radio.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Because while both of our main characters' mothers make an appearance, only one father does, and he's basically kind of background, if you will, but
does lead into a major part of a story plot twist.
Yes.
I don't want to give anything away because Darren still has to watch that because it was his recommendation. We all watch it, and he's the only one that hasn't had the time to start it as of yet.
But good father or bad father?
I kind of want to say he's trying to be a good father based off of the situation where I'm not giving my daughter a role because she's my daughter. I'm making her go through an audition and things like that, making her work for the part and trying to teach that aspect of things. Granted, they don't go into a ton of detail of why her parents got divorced.
I'm gonna go with the obvious answer of the mother being a career-oriented person didn't want to deal with having a quote starving artist as a husband and parent.
Yeah.
And
her mom's kind of to put it bluntly, her mom's a bitch.
Well, yes, but I would argue that's why they're divorced.
Oh, I'm sure.
But again, definitely not a major part of the show by any stretch, but also a part of why she's the way she is.
And that's a show I've still been enjoying. I've thought that it's been really good.
It is not what I expected in the slightest. I'll be honest, I expected to get through like 3 episodes and then be like, meh, and not bother finishing it. But
then the story took you.
And I'll be honest, I'm really enjoying it far more than I thought. although Bartender is top for the season.
I would agree. Bartender's top of the season. Um, I definitely did not expect it to be as like I did coming into it. You had mentioned that it's a reboot of an older series, which I had never heard of or seen before. So coming into it blind, I didn't really know what to expect. But it's actually given me, and this is going to sound really, really goofy, but after watching Bartender and gaining a new respect for the bartender profession based off of what they teach you about the world of bartending, and then going back and watching Hina Matsuri, which, as I said, stupid logic. You have a middle school student who's working as a bartender, but watching the stuff that she's doing and you can see a lot of similar motions and a lot of similarities between this 13-year-old and the actual like bartender series and the stuff they do behind the bar with making the drinks, mixing the drinks and stuff. And Hina Matsuri came out long before the remake, a few years before the remake of Bartender. I don't know how much. Don't know if there was influence from the original that went into this one.
You know what? I'm actually going to look up what year that came out, because the answer is maybe.
Ross says another bad dad was Chivalry of a Failed Knight. Iki's father.
I can agree with that one. I forgot about it.
The original Bartender aired in 2006. It was 11 episodes. The original was 11 episodes, fall of 2006.
And so 2006. So yeah, that came out before Hina Matsuri did. So I wondered if there was some instances, although Hina Matsuri, the series, had some of the greatest, like you could take some screenshots from it, from the faces that were made, especially by the girl who ends up as the bartender, and really have fun with it. Let me see if I can pull up a good image here.
But
because I forget the name of let me see if I can find a good, like I see some pictures of her and some. Let's see if we can get this in here. So that's the girl there. And she makes some of the craziest faces as people walk in. Like one of her teachers comes in and thinks he recognizes her, and she does what she can to play it off and be like, "Oh, you must be mistaking me for somebody else." They don't have any good pictures of like the goofy faces. I mean, that's a common one that you see. That's probably the best one. That's a face that you see her make quite a few times throughout the show. I don't know, Darren, if you've ever seen like any gifs or memes with this character or not.
Which character?
I have the picture up on the.
Yes, I've seen. Is that from Hina Matsuri?
Yes.
Yes, I have seen some.
Because she was the middle school kid that ended up being a bartender. it's crazy how it happened, but the series itself is just a bunch of goofiness and stupidity. But there are some very wholesome moments and things that make you think in it. So I would consider it to be a very underrated anime. Is the storyline good enough to keep Angela hooked? Probably not. Although there's probably some things in there that Angela would enjoy. But that's just going off of what I know Angela likes. Still think she needs
Yep.
to. Still think that she needs to watch Vending Machine one episode.
Nope.
I still think she needs to watch Jobless Reincarnation.
Nope.
The Jobless Reincarnation, and I know that a lot of people were on my case about watching that for a long time. And you were right; it is a really, really good show. Fantastic! Like the storyline is really good, and the stuff that happened in the episode that dropped today was one of those holy shit moments. But I've been enjoying it, and in a way, I wish I had started it sooner. But at the same time, I'm glad that I was able to sit down and like binge all of season 1 before starting season 2, so that I could have it all fresh in my mind.
See, it's. I'm just so sick of isekai. Period. I'm at a point where that in and of itself is enough for me to just ignore what may or may not be good shows. But isekai as a thing is just not something I enjoy, with very few exceptions.
Understandable. Kind of my feeling on shonen. And show these mainstream shows that get extremely popular, and a lot of it's just action and fighting and explosions and
those
theatrical stuff.
And those are fun. I'm not gonna say most of them are good.
I think that's where like the isekai stuff for me is fun, is because of the fantasy aspect of it. Granted, it's a copy and paste scheme now.
And that's exactly when it is that blatantly obvious.
But
that's
you're,
when I
you're explaining shonen in a nutshell. What are you talking about? Copying and pasting? Like, come on, Ange.
And I'm agreeing that a lot of shonen are like that. I never said I never said a lot of them were good. I'm agreeing that both genres are extremely formulaic.
It basically comes down to the anime industry found something that works and is exploiting it at every turn that they can for as long as they can.
And
there's magical girls are still a thing. Idol animes are still a thing.
And there's shonen anime. There's shonen anime I refuse to watch. For very similar reasons.
Why is ecchi no longer the thing it used to be?
Because not enough people are watching, and therefore it's not making money.
No, they really just haven't come out with any good shows.
I think some of it also comes to the fact of the culture and the thought process of the world has changed. So as
are they trying to market toward more family-friendly communities versus the obscure communities they were reaching previously?
I think also
that's probably a big thing of it.
That's probably a large part of it. Another part of it is it may very well be they're trying to before they were catering to they weren't catering to a global audience. The fact of the matter is I don't think these studios realized how much of this was how much anime was getting imported into other countries. And then once they realized that, that's when they tried to basically make or put out content that would maintain that popularity.
I just love how anime, unlike a lot of other shows, can continually copy and paste something and make it work and feel enjoyable versus you try to do that with a lot of movies in America and they just fall flat.
The only types of movies that are still like doing really good, really popular is like superhero.
Or remakes of previous successes.
Or your or what amounts to your shonen, your summer blockbusters don't think about the plot because there really isn't one with the eye candy and the explosives.
And the shonen with the eye candy, the explosions, the good battle scenes, and stuff like that, seems like that's what a lot of the world has put its focus on instead of the ecchi harem animes that we used to watch when we first got into the shows. You don't see a, and some people may take the term good anime lightly, but shows like harem animes like Rosario Vampire, DxD,
Sekirei.
Sekirei. You don't see shows today that have that kind of entertainment quality, and I'm not talking about like the etchiness or things of that nature, but like going back and rewatching Rosario Vampire, it was still as good, watching it a couple of weeks ago as it was when I first was watching it going through a divorce many years ago.
And I think that a point I've brought up more than once over the past couple years, nowadays there is so much anime that is so widely available. We've all hit the point of forgetting things that we've watched because there was nothing to make it stand out. Like, we all have the classics that we've watched that left a lasting impression that we could go back and rewatch, and it would still maybe not hit the same, but still be just as good.
Yeah, and we've touched on it before too. Are we living in a day and age where there's so many anime studios trying to produce so many shows that the quality is not as good as it used to be. The attention to detail and storylines and things of that nature, it's more of let's just get this out there to the audience to watch, as rather than let's put something quality out there for the audience to watch.
I also think there is some of that. I also think there's just some of the fact that they're not. Back in the day, you could put out a lot of, for lack of a better word, experimental content, whether it be with art, whether it be with story, whether it be with just topics it covered. And today, there's very little of that experimental.
And I think that's where the cookie cutter stuff falls right into let's get something out, as opposed to let's get something out of quality.
And
it falls in isekai, shonen. It falls in a lot of different genres.
Isekai and shonen are probably the worst examples. And yeah, we give each other a lot of crap for it, but at the end of the day,
we still watch it.
At the end of the day, I watch shonen because it's fun. I don't watch it because it's good.
And Spike, you said that you're having trouble keeping up with anime that have your favorite voice actor. Who is your favorite voice actor? And do you prefer sub anime to dub anime, or both?
And also, you're saying you're just watching the popular anime. What, in your opinion, defines the popular anime? What shows do you think are popular?
Ones that have giant fan bases, or ones that appeal to you?
Because, I mean, if we were each to make a list of a top 5 most popular anime list, I'm fairly certain we'd all have a couple of the same ones. But also, I think we'd have very different responses.
I mean, I could probably list off 5 shows off the top of my head that I think would be in the most popular anime category.
I mean, off the top, off the top of my head right now. I could too, but are we
Same
all
here.
thinking the same 5?
OP.
Because like the ones that come to mind, My Hero, Demon Slayer,
One Piece.
One Piece is still big. Attack on Titan fell off, but the fan base on that's still huge.
Naruto, Boruto, that whole thing still a thing.
I mean, Free Run was a big one. You see a lot of Free Run
I
talk.
would also
No.
argue right now Jujutsu
Jujutsu
My Hero,
Kaisen.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
That's the one I forgot.
Jujutsu Kaisen has taken the American market by storm for whatever reason.
Exactly.
I see more of my employees at work that talk about Jujutsu Kaisen before any other anime.
And
Oh, speaking of employees, I have to comment on this. So, one of my employees was chastising me and making fun of me for spending the amount of money I did on some of my figures, Doug, right?
Yeah.
So, Rias, the wedding dress Rias, for example, was $300. And she couldn't believe I paid that for that. And meanwhile, the topic of one of her favorite characters come up, and if there was a figure of him, she would buy him, and it's Yami Sugahiro from Black Clover. So we got to looking around at the couple figures that exist to him. They're all fairly mid-level figures, and then they got one that's releasing later this year. Guess how much?
$350.
$300.
$750-ish. And she has the nerve to say that's not bad. After belittling me over
Now, if you paid $300 for a shitty quality figure, I would chastise you. Knowing what I know,
you do realize I don't buy subpar figures, right? That's why
exactly.
I've
That's
That's
why she
why
was
I'm not
saying that knowing what she knows, you would never spend money on a
on shit.
subquality figure.
well
I was
I
about
will
to give
say
you
this though.
credit.
The least amount of money I ever spent on a figure, I really didn't even spend on a figure because I bought it through that work. That Asuna figure that I showed you I got was only $50.
Yeah.
But yet the quality on it was actually quite impressive.
And that's one of those things where if you I don't the whole market for figures, the whole what goes into them, I don't know. I do know that there's a lot of shit and a lot of high quality stuff. And the people that do their research and spend a lot of money to import the quality stuff, that's no judgment here. That's your thing.
Probably one figure I almost wouldn't mind owning. Doug, do you know in 2016 they only made a couple of these, but they made a full size, a 1-to-1 scale figure from Momo from To Love Ru?
I did hear about that. I know they've done that with a few characters. And
They
those you're looking at like
a
thousands.
about $1,000, $2,000. They actually have a 1-1 figure for Chainsaw Man coming out.
And see, I enjoyed Chainsaw Man.
Would if ever given the opportunity, would you own a figure that big?
No, I don't have the space. Realistically, I don't have the space for it. And two, that's just not my thing.
But you can't go wrong with Maple.
Nope. And Maple, when she eventually gets here, will sit next to get propped up next to Anya for the sheer entertainment value.
And when I finally go down and pick up Kuma Bear, Yuna, I will try to sit her somewhere where she will be seen on camera. Maybe above my shoulder.
What
over
I will
here.
probably do is have you grab mine as well when you go down there. And then when I make it to Philly at the end of the year, worst case scenario, because I'll be in Philly for PAX Unplugged, I will make arrangements to meet you at some indeterminate point while I'm down there.
As long as I'm able to have the time and the funds to get down to Darren. This last week was absolutely crap. I worked one day. The list did not move at all. Although this coming
down.
The problem was the lack of funds. And you've had enough stuff go on this week that I would not ask anything of you. You've already gone above and beyond by getting the figure for me.
Well, Ross being Ross. Russell Crowe slams people for going for comic book adaptation roles. It would be easy.
I mean, is any of that stuff really easy?
Yes and no. And technically, now I'm going to double check this because I don't want to actually get this wrong. Because if I remember correctly, Russell Crowe did also a comic adaptation movie.
I'm hearing a whirring noise outside. I'm wondering if they're racing at the racetrack down the street. Yes, they are. They actually are racing live down the street right now. And then they have another race on Wednesday. This week coming up, I actually landed a road job. So I will be going to Harrisburg at least once this week, if not twice.
Yay.
Unfortunately, it's going to be one of the hottest week we've had up here this year, with temperatures in the 90s. So I'm going to be dying outside in the heat.
Yes, you are. And so am I. I don't do well with the heat and humidity.
I don't do well with heat and humidity, and we're looking at 88 Monday. Friday is 97.
We're looking at going to be over 100 here, I think, Thursday.
Okay, why is it I actually have lower temperatures than the rest of y'all?
Because global warming, that's why. It's supposed to be 83 tomorrow in Boston.
88 up here tomorrow.
Look, 90, 90, 90, 89, 90, 94, 97, chance of rain, non-existent the rest of the week.
I don't know if you can read those temperatures or not there. But we had 91, 91, 95, 97, 93. That's going into Saturday.
Okay. 83, 92, 95, 97. I was 97, 89, 81. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, chance of storms.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday is 90, 94, 97. The Friday, the rain chance goes up to 13%. That's it. That's the highest it is all week.
On Thursday, it's 40% chance of storms. On Friday, we've got 60% chance of storms. Yeah. Lovely.
Fun side of things, we do have a guest announcement coming up in a couple of weeks. We are going to be welcoming back our friend Jason Moulton. He's going to be coming on talking about his South Carolina Horror Convention. He had his first one last year. He's already in the works for another one this year. Probably talk about the podcast he's been doing. We are going to have a parental guidance, is advised.
Because he's not the only guest.
Because we're going to have a wonderful guest co-host joining us. We jokingly talked about how fun it would be to get these two people on at the same time, and we have made it happen as Julia Coelho is going to be joining us as well. So be prepared. This show is probably going to go off the rails fast. I will say, get your 5-point harness, strap the belts tight, sit down, hold on. It's going to be a wild ride. And that's going to be going on Sunday, June 30th, so the last Sunday of the month. Next week, we do not have a guest planned as of yet. That could change. I do have some inquiries out to some people, so anything can happen. Other than that, I know, Darren, you have been trying to keep up with a couple of shows. We've touched a little bit about Jobless Reincarnation. What's the other shows that you've been watching?
Konosuba and Slime. I haven't really been able to catch up on much of any Slime. As
I mentioned, been keeping up with Mushoku Tensei. I have kind of dropped Grandpa Grandma Turn Young again. It was a fun story, but I've been watching so much other stuff. I just did not keep up with that one. Studio Apartment, Good Lighting, Angel Included has been kind of a cutesy story.
Ross points out that next week we talk ending of the anime season, and he's not wrong.
We have that, and also something that I had brought up as a potential topic. You know, the effects of anime, what it has had on people. And when I say the effects of anime, how anime as a genre, anime and video games as a genre has been able to, it helped me get through some tough times. We see a lot of stories of people who have discovered anime, cosplay, video games as a way to escape, mentally escape troubles that are going on in their lives and stuff. So I thought it might be interesting to touch on that.
The short version is, if it weren't for cosplay, I probably wouldn't have a husband right now.
If it wasn't for, anime and conventions, I wouldn't be married right now. Because I never would have gone to Vermont and met my wife.
And then there's me.
If it weren't for anime, Darren wouldn't have $350 figure of Rias.
Or Dakimakura.
But let's be honest, if it weren't for anime, this show wouldn't exist, and we'd all be in very different places. And I might not have met either of you.
Yeah, I would probably be doing paranormal talk radio, in all honesty, because considering the fact that's what I started off doing before anime.
And I probably wouldn't have even ever considered doing anything like this, because I wouldn't have known anybody involved to kind of get me into it.
And if we take anime as far as Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, then I wouldn't have had a childhood.
Yeah, because you're still the baby of the group.
And look at the time.
Good night.
Good night to Ross. Good night to John.
It's bow time.
Thank you, Spike, John, Knight, Ross, Mario, everybody who tuned in and commented and watched. We really appreciate everybody who supports us.
Thank you all for being awesome.
Thank you for the comments and the constant, interactions with us. We love that. We thrive off of that. And I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Stay safe. Stay hydrated out there because it's going to be a warm one in a lot of parts of the country. And on that note, until next week when we have more fun, chaos, and stupidity here on Anime-Zing Radio, have a wonderful week. We'll be back next week right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Have a great one, everyone.
Good night, everybody.